Hello and welcome to this channel. I hope you enjoy the story. I'm going to try and upload each day. Sarah and her new apartment. The young woman, let's call her Sarah, had just moved into her new apartment. She was excited to start this new chapter in her life, but she soon realized that something was wrong. The first night she moved in, she heard strange noises coming from the hallway. She thought it was just the wind, but then she heard footsteps. She got out of bed and went to investigate, but there was no one there. The next day, she was cleaning her apartment when she saw a figure out of the corner of her eye. She turned around, but there was nothing there. She thought she was just imagining things, but then she started to see the figure more and more often. The figure was always the same. It was a young woman, dressed in a white gown. She had long, dark hair and pale skin. She looked sad and lonely. Sarah started to feel uneasy in her apartment. She would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of crying. She would see the figure standing in the doorway, watching her. One day, Sarah was home alone when she heard the figure speak. "Help me," the figure said. "I'm trapped." Sarah was scared, but she also felt sorry for the figure. She asked her what was wrong. "I'm the previous tenant," the figure said. "I was murdered in this apartment. I can't move on until my killer is brought to justice." Sarah was shocked. She didn't know what to say. "I need your help," the figure said. "You're the only one who can help me." Sarah didn't know what to do. She didn't believe in ghosts, but she couldn't deny what she was seeing. She decided to help the figure. Sarah started to investigate the murder. She talked to the landlord, the neighbors, and the police. She learned that the previous tenant, a young woman named Emily, had been found dead in her apartment. She had been stabbed multiple times. Sarah also learned that Emily had been involved in a relationship with a man named David. David had a history of violence. He had been arrested for assault on several occasions. Sarah confronted David. She told him that she knew he had killed Emily. David denied it at first, but then he broke down and confessed. He said that he had gotten into an argument with Emily, and he had lost control. He had stabbed her in a fit of rage. Sarah went to the police. David was arrested and charged with murder. He was eventually convicted and sentenced to life in prison. After David was arrested, the figure disappeared. Sarah never saw her again. But Sarah knew that she had done the right thing. She had helped Emily to find justice, and she had freed her from the haunting. Sarah moved out of the apartment a few months later. She couldn't bring herself to stay there anymore. But she never forgot Emily, and she always wondered if she would ever see her again. One night, a few years later, Sarah was having a dream. In the dream, she was back in the apartment. The figure was there, but she was different. She was smiling, and she was no longer sad. "Thank you," the figure said. "You helped me to find peace." And then the figure was gone. Sarah woke up from the dream feeling refreshed and at peace. She knew that Emily was finally at rest, and she was grateful that she had been able to help her. A few years later, Sarah was living in a different city. She had a good job and a loving boyfriend. She had put the haunting behind her, and she had never seen the figure again. One day, Sarah was walking down the street when she saw a familiar figure. It was the figure of the young woman from the apartment. Sarah stopped and stared. The figure was standing in the doorway of a coffee shop. She was still dressed in the white gown, and her long hair was still dark and flowing. But her face was different. It was no longer sad and lonely. It was peaceful and serene. Sarah took a step towards the figure. "Annalie," she said. The figure smiled. "Hello, Sarah," she said. "It's good to see you again." Sarah was overjoyed. She had never thought she would see Emily again. "I'm so glad you're here," she said. "I've missed you. I've missed you too," Emily said. "But I'm not here to stay. I'm just here to say goodbye." "Goodbye?" Sarah asked. "But why?" "I'm finally at peace," Emily said. "I can move on now. I know that you helped me to find justice, and I'm grateful." "Thank you. You're welcome," Sarah said. "I'm just glad I could help." Emily smiled again. "I'll never forget you," she said. "And I'll always be grateful for your friendship." and then Emily was gone. Sarah stood in the street for a long time, watching the spot where Emily had been standing. She knew that she would never forget her. She had helped a young woman find peace, and she had made a difference in the world. Sarah turned and walked away, feeling a sense of peace and closure. She knew that Emily would always be with her in her heart. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.